Mike, turn your games down.
With another movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who regrets their decision to say yes to me tonight?
Hey everyone, this is Joe Larrey, and this is one fellowship I went off of.
Hello everybody, Robbie Sherman of Conversations with Robbie Sherman, talking to you about one of my least favorite Ralph Bakshi movies. Or it would have been if I still had favorite Ralph Bakshi movies. He's such a bastard, I had to give him up, god damn it.
I mean, yeah. I remember you told me, like, I had planned this, and I'm like, hey, and then you told me all about how much of a piece of shit he was, or is.
Yeah.
He's not dead.
Yeah. And now I see all his flaws on the screen as, like, representation of his, like, scattered, terrible mind.
I mean, this movie doesn't have that, though. There's no dicks hanging out. There's no...
Oh, no, but when I think about, like, the, like, photocopying process they use for large portions of the battle scenes, those just look so ugly, and they only work by being the product of a drug-fueled mind. You know, it's the 70s. You have access to Coke. You are looking at all this stuff you can make, like, very cheaply compared to doing genuine animation. You're getting your head full. It's I think it's the work of an overdriven ego in a lot of ways.
That's an understatement. That's a very understatement.
So we are here to talk about Lord of the Rings, the 1978 animated film directed by Ralph Bakshi and came out in 1978, distributed by United Artists. So we always start this off with our memories. I had apparently never seen a single second of this film ever in my life and did not realize it because I thought for sure Cartoon Network had it on at one of those times when they did their, like, they used to do the little special, like, oh, we had this Saturday movie, like, first time on Cartoon Network bullshit. And they had The Hobbit, they had Return of the King, but they never had this one. I never watched any of them. But apparently I didn't even know, like, so I didn't know anything about this movie. I randomly, Rob, you brought this up on, I think, our last Unicorn episode, or somewhere this came up briefly.
Yeah. Okay.
And unfortunately, the way my brain works is when something's mentioned on the podcast, it stays sometimes. And I was walking at a Walmart and I saw this for $5. I went, oh, $5. And I picked it up. That's my history before this week. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly when I saw this. It was definitely when I was a kid, because I remember watching The Hobbit, I know we talked about The Return of the King. I don't really remember anything about that one, but I have a VHS of this. It still has the old stamp from Hollywood Video on it, so I don't know if this was something I bought when it closed or just a case I never returned it. So I don't know, but I do remember when I was a kid I enjoyed it, but boy oh boy does opinions change as time goes on.
And Robbie.
I probably could not tell you when I first saw this because I remember it never being on anywhere. Like, it was never broadcast on Cartoon Network or any similar place, you know, and it was just like an enigma that was out of my reach for a long time. And then maybe I got it from a video store at some point. I also think my dad just not being into it, and he was already such a big LOTR fan. That's a family franchise, and I'm not even the biggest LOTR. I'm not even the biggest LOTR fan, but that is definitely one of the few franchises that kind of held my small, like, sense of family together growing up. It seemed like, mostly because we were meeting my uncle and his son at the movies for a little while, but he never spoke fondly of it. And I think for a long time I kind of had that in my head too, so I didn't try to seek it out more actively. I'm sure I probably saw it when I was a young teen, though, out of curiosity. And I have a few scattershot memories from it because there were just things in it where I was just so frustrated by it. It's like, what is happening here? This is so muddy and just not well done. Yeah, it left a bad impression on me through multiple things. And I'd become a Ralph Bakshi fan because my old man was into Wizard, and that was fine. But then I found out that he's like this big godfather of what we consider mature animation in America. He was the first big dude to be, like independent animator, somebody who could rival Walt Disney in number and reach for his ideas for a time. And, that's a pretty captivating thing to hold on a lot of levels. And what you don't get from a lot of the press growing up through the late 2000s, 2010s, is that Ralph Bakshi is a notoriously terrible person. And part of the reason why a lot of his movies aren't shown anywhere and people don't try to make a lot of money off of him is because his movies are cheap, exploitative junk,
Yeah.
where he advantage of a lot of people and whatever merit they have within the realm of American cinema. And I will defend heartily those first three films in a lot of ways when you look at the state of animation in America at that time.
Mhm.
It was just so pitiful. It feels like a breath of fresh air when you're looking at all of its like contemporaries and surroundings for a moment. But then he starts getting into fantasy to make money. He just starts doing stuff to make money. And that's really where the flaws come in because once you get him out of like the admittedly sympathetic elements of like urban drama, the pantheon of new Hollywood male entitlement problem type stuff, just stuff that has like great cinematic tradition. He really starts veering off and going crazy. So
Okay.
I don't have a ridiculously high opinion of this film. This watch was okay. I mean, there was moments I'll defend a little bit, but I'm still thinking this is a mixed bag at best.
I
Sorry if that's a
mean,
lot. I shouldn't.
no, that's fine. I mean,
penetrate so
everything
much.
you said was true.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, this is like I was trying to think about it. Like, is this actually any like was this good in 1978? I'm like
Ooh.
maybe, and I've been trying to think that to myself all the time because I'm like I hate this, but maybe it was good back then.
Yeah,
I think.
I was gonna say he kind of hyped it up. That's another thing about the director. He loved to hype up his movies quite a bit.
I
Oh
mean,
God, yeah.
Yes, and he was like, "This is going to be the most book accurate of all the movies. I'm working with the Tolkien estate. It's going to be, word for word, scene for scene." So he hyped it way up. So people were like expecting almost like the second coming of Star Wars at that time with this property, and a lot of people were not happy when this final product came out.
I mean, there's a lot of stories Ralph Bakshi tells that other people don't talk about. Who knows how much of a balance that is between industry etiquette and them just not getting any necessary benefit out of speaking the truth that he might have hatcheted this production a little bit. There's some weird thing where supposedly the Mexican, I don't know where they were filming at, Barcelona maybe. Anyways, the union where they were filming at was supposedly confused by what was happening when they were filming the battle scenes because they were going to, color over those backgrounds. You don't have to worry about having telephone poles or anything like that in there. So, because you're going to color over it, it's going to be a completely different background with the actual stenciled people running around. So they were confused, thinking that all of this was going to look like the final product, and they stopped the involvement of the union. And Bakshi supposedly, I've heard him say this in an interview or two about how this like made their producers cut off 6 months in time because of the money they lost due to all of this. And that, I mean, that will explain a lot of the cheapness because I think this is a little cheaper than even Ralph Bakshi wants to go for at times. Yeah. Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's very fair. I mean, this movie feels. I can't even say it feels cheap because I am notorious for not watching a lot of like older movies like 70s, 80s. Like, I'm just not. That's just. I was born in 87, grew up in the 90s, so I watched a lot of stuff from the 90s. I realized like I didn't. So. And I don't watch a lot of animation from this time, so I wasn't sure if this was just the time or this was just cheap.
I mean, it's definitely a little bit both.
Yeah, that's what I realized.
Yeah.
So before this watch, I actually found like an hour-long YouTube documentary that talked about Ralph Bakshi and his work and stuff, and that really helped me understand like how this movie was filmed, what they were doing, and things that I thought maybe were just me, and no, they weren't. So Like originally, I guess he was promised he was going to get a part 2.
Yeah, and like they were going to make this like just the Lord of the Rings, and then they were going to call that part 2. Like there aren't titles to these fucking things. Yeah.
Which, like, Lord of the Rings is something that, I mean, this movie is 2 hours and like 12 minutes. It's a long movie.
Oh my god, and they waste so much fucking time. Like that first opening sequence explaining the lore, that is just a red filter over like cloth. And it's so amateurish and bad looking, and they take so long with all these
I like it.
Definitely. Oh, you like it? Wow.
I liked it more than the rest of the movie.
Wow. Holy shit. That is crazy.
I don't know. It was just because there were certain things in this movie that, so I've seen the Lord of the Rings films. I feel like I've read the books. I don't remember them, but I read the books. Like, I feel like I am decently like up to the date with lore of Lord of the Rings, and I got into it. I had never known how it was 17 years between the time Bilbo leaves and Frodo leaves.
Yeah. I like all that stuff. Okay, that's when we're starting to get into some of the good stuff, because he shows that he actually is an LOTR fan with all that very specific timing. Yeah.
But the red, there was the way it did it with the red, it felt like I was watching a low budget play, and somehow it worked for me, and I kind of enjoyed it.
See, that's the con of that. He has theatrical experience, so he understands what makes for good theatrical convention in a certain way, even if he knows that what he's doing is cheap. So he thinks he's going to get away with it.
Okay, you see,
and he sometimes does.
Like, I wasn't sure if some of this stuff was like revolutionary for the time or normal, because it wasn't long before I realized, wait, those are real people that are like that I'm seeing out here. This isn't animation. I'm like, what is going on?
He's trying a little bit to like do something that is more epic in scope than what we've been given in animated fantasy films beforehand.
Yeah,
And
I believe this was, I don't think it was the first use of rotoscoping, but it was like the first big one.
Lord. I mean, rotoscoping is a thing that goes back to the 20s, like the Fleischers created.
Right, but like this was like the real thing. Like you really wanted to try to like advance it, I guess would be a better way of saying it for this movie.
Yeah, and I wish he had relied on like filtered compositing so much. Like that's where the illusion breaks way too often. Like, okay, I saw the new Lord of the Rings movie they put out that was basically just a big tax break, just an excuse to keep the rights from everything I'm hearing. But they use motion capture in that, like with all the anime characters, like for big battle sequences. And they're kind of getting away with it a little bit better than this does, like they can kind of integrate that in better. And then when they do moments of rotoscoping with live people, with the cartoon characters, like there are just things they don't do that creates a weird, like flat illusion that breaks the reality of what you're getting into. Like fucking crazy at times.
Strange. It is so fucking strange, and it works. It actually worked a little bit for me. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate this. This movie is garbage. I'm never gonna watch it again. But I do have to give it credit in certain things. Like when it's the orcs that are made like that, it makes them more. What's the word I want to use here? More scary, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
and I like that. Like, I mean, yes, it's really strange having an animated hobbit and then having a real life person, sort of, standing next to him in an orc costume, but they look more demonic, they look more evil, more wild because of the contrast, but at the same time it feels like two different movies are happening at the same time.
Yeah. It's like in a Filmation cartoon where you get like long sequences of people like not moving at all, but having little mouth flaps. And then you get like a full sequence of a guy jumping onto a horse and riding into the sunset or something. And it's like perfectly rotoscoped. And it stands out so much compared to that like shift limited animation. Like it doesn't feel like the same production. It's
weird how it contrasts and things. But I didn't hate it. I was just very confused by it.
What did you think of the ring rapes? I had a hard time being able to identify that because it was like, I think there's something there. I can't really tell.
So
that was Go ahead, please.
One thing I think we have to get out of the room quickly, or not the right with the. I know the fucking cat out of the bag, or maybe that's not accurate. I don't either. But here's what I'm going to say: like seeing this movie in 2025, we have all watched Lord of the Rings live action. We're all like we've been engrossed in that world because we're in the 2000s. You don't have a choice at this point. So it was hard for me. It's hard for me to see any of the characters or monsters or anything different than what I will forever picture it in my head at this point. So yeah, but so I just want to say, and that does color my opinion of this movie, but in some aspects, but not the movie's still bad. But the ring race, like they're creepy looking, and to me, I'm like, this is not how I picture the Nazgul, and that's partly because of the movie. And I don't know if I would have read the books and then seen this movie in 1978, would I be like, okay, that makes sense, or would I have been like, this ain't correct?
Well, a little bit of it is actually based around different types of artwork that came out of the Tolkien estate. So there is like some legitimacy to certain designs. I mean, I watched a whole hour-long video the other night about this, and so I'm only going to be able to give you certain details.
Oh, that's fine.
But anyways, like there is a certain legitimacy to this that is easy to point out if you do a little digging. I don't want to take away that fact from it because I think at the time, when you look at the development of it and the way Hollywood was, it's a miracle it came out faithful to the books in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the video I was watching had talked about how Lord of the Rings was in the public domain, sort of at this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't. I tried to Google it, and AI is like, it doesn't go into the public domain until 2050. I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for, AI. So yeah, that was so strange to hear that, like, because they didn't print enough books because they didn't think the book would sell in America, so they lost the copyright for a while. Weird as fuck.
They didn't make enough books to qualify for a copyright, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they only printed 1,500.
Yeah,
when this first came out.
Crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like,
that's part of the reason it became a cult hit too. No one could find a copy, so everyone's like, "What's this weird magic book?" Like, oh, it's a book. It's based. It's from The Hobbit. When they started realizing that shit too, so that helped legacy a lot.
It's just a weird thing that, like, I learned a lot from watching the YouTube video and just because of this movie, something that I never would have looked up had it not been for us covering this weird ass film. So,
how do we feel about all the stuff with the Shire? How do we feel about the animation of it, the staging of it? How do we feel about the acting of it? I want to hear your thoughts.
It's fine. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it's consistent where the rest of the movie doesn't know what that word means.
Yeah, no, I would say also that's probably most accurate to book description as well with them. I know I don't want to be one of those people that compares it to the book so much, but I've read that series so many times and I feel like he does capture like the hobbits really well, better so than some of the other characters we'll be getting into in a little bit here.
Yeah. Oh.
One of my little cartoon. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Please.
It's a little cartoony. My only really issue with it is Samwise Gamgee bothers me, and that's not the movie's fault. It's not Sean Astin, so I can't do it. That's not the movie's fault.
No. I think it is the movie's fault because I hate this dumb, stiffy looking like Sam Gamgee. Like it drives me nuts.
He's so ugly.
At least he gets somewhat of a character on like Merry and Pippin, who they get introduced in like a montage scene, pretty much.
Yeah,
they don't even get their finish in this movie.
No, they don't.
We're missing a chunk of the Two Towers here. But I guess
we're missing the whole second half of that book, pretty much.
Oh yeah. But I get it because he had a second movie coming, so he was combining the Two Towers and Return of the King in the movie he never got. So
yeah.
Once I knew that, like, okay, I can accept that. That's not his fault. If they told him they were going to do it, and he's like, okay, I'm going to save this for the second one, that makes perfect sense. Like, I can't fault him for that.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like, I almost feel like I enjoy this movie more than the people who would have seen it when it first came out because I get to understand its flaws in a way they don't. Like, it might seem like more perplexing, like some of the cheapness of it to them. Like, instead of me, like with hindsight to look at it from, I was just now realizing that. I'm sorry for interrupting me, friend.
But you're right though, Joe. I was also surprised when Merry and Pippin just kind of show up. I'm like, oh, I would have expected more for them, and then they don't. They're just kind of like they don't do a lot in this movie.
But they're just there because they're in the book. That's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say though, there's a few moments of animation with them, just subtle face acting, beautiful stuff. I don't know who was doing that, but props.
I do appreciate Gandalf. I thought Gandalf was fine.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that bugged the hell out of me about Gandalf, and that is he's called Gandalf the Grey, but he's all decked out in blue. I know it's a weird complaint, but it was bugging the hell out of me.
No, that's fair. I didn't really think about. To me, it's a grayish blue. But you are right. It is blue, but it felt like a yeah.
And then you have Saruman the White, and he's decked out in red.
Yeah, that was an issue for me.
There's a couple of moments of framing with Gandalf when he's talking to Bilbo. His eyes like shake.
Okay, you noticed that too. When his eyes just like huge. Yes, okay.
Oh
Yeah,
man, like
yeah.
broke the illusion of it. Like otherwise, it's really well animated. But I just think maybe they had some kind of weird framing issue when they were compositing in a couple of frames.
There's also some weird things with his hands when they kept going like from his perspective looking at Bilbo, and it's like there was one scene there. I wish we had videos of where I could show it. It looks like he has like 3 hands pointing at Bilbo. Like, wait, what? I had to stop it and go back and count him. Just a
It was made by AI before AI.
maybe that's what it looks like. It looks very weird.
No. Everything is better than AI. Let's never speak of it again.
So there was another thing that this movie did that actually impressed me. You're not going to hear this a lot. In the early part with the Shire, to kind of go back, like, actually start to see, like, Frodo has the ring, has been holding on to the ring for 17 years. It's already starting to eat at him. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes so much more sense than the way the live action ones feel, is that he never touched the ring really until those movies. And it's like, okay, this is pretty, like, he's only had it for like 6 months to a year, however long they're traveling, and it's starting to really get to him. But here it makes more sense. He's already had it for 17 years.
Right.
And he's already been holding it and letting it, it's been slowly corrupting him.
Yep, Gandalf comes in. He's just sitting on his fat ass like his own.
I mean, all that was like, those are little things that I did not realize when it came to this. And I think they even mentioned that Gandalf is with Saruman a lot longer than I thought, but I can't remember if they say now what it was or what they said. But I thought they made a comment that he's with him for a bit of time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's there for a couple months.
Okay. In the movie, it feels like it was a day.
Yeah.
In the live action movie. So, I mean, again, these are little things that, as a guy who read the books once and seen the live action movies like 2 or 3 times, but likes the world, like, this was nice little touches that made me understand Lord of the Rings a little better that I didn't have, and I owe it to this crappy movie. So that was kind of nice.
Hey, this whole thing does have relative, like, stylistically good animation for what it's doing, even with its flaws in production. I think it does have that benefit.
For 1978, I feel like this had, I mean, especially for, and in the YouTube video, they're even telling me, like, even in the 70s, they're like, this isn't to make, like, live action, sure, but drawing? Like, you can fucking draw anything you want, Look at comic books. You can draw. Yes, I know this is animation.
Okay.
So you can draw.
So, since you're bringing that up, I really want to mention that this movie was storyboarded by Mike Plug, and I've heard a couple of animators like talk about how badly they wish they could have made the movie that was on Mike Plug's big storyboards. That guy is a legend of illustrating.
Okay.
Anybody who isn't familiar with him, go look up his work. You'll never regret it. He is a very boomery in a couple of ways, but he's still just an amazing illustrator and talent. And he brought a hell of a lot to this film, and he's probably the one responsible for those incredible backgrounds that pop up here and there.
You mean for the first half of the movie?
Yeah.
They are good until a point. Like, I'm rewatching it as we're talking. And I watched half of this movie over the course of 2 days, and I watched the other half over the course of another 2 days. And like the backgrounds, like I'm in the early part where they're still just leaving the Shire and stuff. Like, these backgrounds are really good. And I think about like Helm's Deep in the later movie, and it's like those are not that good anymore.
And okay, I think this is actual ammo for Bakshi if you look at the film, because there are just certain parts that are so completely unfinished that it's hard not to notice the comparable difference. And that feels like a sign of something that is like money has just gone missing. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't
Yeah.
say ammo for Matthew, but it does feel like money has gone missing for some reason, like throughout the film, due to the differences in quality.
Also, that is a tune for Hollywood in general. This isn't the first time. This isn't the last time that Hollywood would be like, "You're gonna get this much money." We changed our mind. We don't like what you're doing. Fuck you.
Yeah.
So
I worry about giving the guy points. Sometimes when I look at his movies, I do want to accept his explanation to a degree. He is at the mercy of these people who are giving him the money to do these things.
yes, and that's normal Hollywood. And even though this isn't made by WB, it fits the same mindset of WB years later. So hey, I'll buy it. I mean, no, I completely can. As I'm rewatching this, and because I had forgotten a lot of the intro stuff, like the differences by the time I got to the end of this movie, you can see the quality difference when you get into the Two Towers book. There is a difference in quality.
Yeah,
and I bet you it's like he was running out of money, and they were there. I was in the video I was watching. There were multiple interviews with Ralph Bakshi, and he said different things. Years, like his story changes. So, which usually when your story changes, it means you're lying. For the record, so I'm sure he's lying in certain parts, but I would not. I completely can see a studio getting sheeped out at some point and pulling half the budget because they do it all the time. I mean, Deadpool, for example, they pulled half the budget on that. Movies do that. Studios will do that midway through a movie and pull half the budget. I don't know why they think that's a good idea, but it's not an unusual thing.
And I bet Ralph Bakshi was a conspicuous drug user for a long time, so he was probably thinking shit like, "Yeah, I don't go over my budget. I have a weekly budget or something like that." And then his fucking movie gets pulled, and all of a sudden he doesn't have any backup money to help his own movie.
I mean, yes, but also most people, I wouldn't expect even director or anyone to have have all this money millions of dollars laying around to fund your movie.
No. From what I understand about his finances, most of it was just crushing debt.
Oh, well, drugs will do that to you too.
Well, yeah, that too. But just the overall finance of running the studio is just crushing debt. Having your studio in New York and having an independent studio that you're running by yourself with 40 or 50 people. I think there's only I don't know, maybe 50 people at the most animating on here. He has at one point said that there were 3,000 people animating on that.
The story changes in different interviews.
Fucking nonsense.
The guy aired the interview in the YouTube. He aired 2 different clips from different interviews years apart. And the amount of people working on the movie changed.
Maybe drastic amount. Same video.
It's one thing to say, 500, 600, you're, on 2 different times, but it went from 600 to 3,000. I'm like, okay, there's a problem here. One part that as I'm rewatching is even in the movie when they go to the prancing pony for the first time, it's the first time that you see the different animation, but it works because all the humans besides Aragorn are real people that are then put into this where the hobbits are animated, and it still works because those are real people. These are hobbits. Okay. The issue becomes it doesn't last long.
Okay, I'm on the fence about if it works, honestly, because it kind of drives me nuts on a conceptual level, the way they do the rotoscopy of the humans. They move in a way that the cartoon characters don't, so they feel like they're in 2 different productions.
It at times feels like a different movie, and it was weird to me, but it gets weirder when it keeps happening. And especially when they take, there's times with Aragorn and Legolas where you have the different versions of them within the same, scene.
Yeah. And they kind of do that good, too. It's actually some of the better rotoscopy of the film.
But it's strange.
It actually kind of works. Yeah, but it still looks strange as hell, for sure.
This is one of the strangest movies we've done on the podcast.
Okay, I have to talk about the guests at the end and all the scenes, when you see them surrounding the hobbits, that is just so intimidating and creepy and strange. And I'm not for sure how much I think this part of the film is actual rotoscopy, and I think maybe it might have a little bit of the matte coloring thing to help things out a little bit, but it looks like it's more formed. But they still don't have the same outlines that I would want them to have to help them match the other cartoon characters just a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a real toss up for me in a lot of ways.
It's very strange. And I don't really know. Like I could get it if that was going to be the whole movie, like all humans were going to be like this because the hobbits are different. But that would only work in a movie where the hobbits are the only part of the Fellowship, and not what you have.
And I would feel better about that too, because if I could have more actual rotoscopy in the battle sequences instead of the layer compositing, that would help sell the illusion that these magical creatures are living among these 24 frame full animated rotoscope people. Yeah, that would be better on a lot.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it wasn't done to be cheaper because I can't see that being cheaper, right?
Well, I mean, all the layer compositing in a lot of ways was done to be cheaper because it's like I'm not paying an animator to sit there and create like a full figured like thing going 24 frames a second. I can take each frame and then I can. He also used a couple of other processes. One was called solarization, and that like gave you how do I put this? Like a mirror opposite like outcome where you got like a full black line around, and that's what you're seeing a lot of the time when you're watching battle sequences in that. And that's why it just feels like a lot of black lines mashing together when you're watching these sequences because you just have no other option. You're just creating silhouettes. And I think what he was trying to do was create an illustrated book look in a certain way, but I don't know if he pulls it off. It just feels odd. Like, ugh.
So one of the things that really threw me off was Aragorn. So Joe, you had made a comment in the green room, and the funny thing is, my wife made the same comment when we were watching this movie, and then when you said it, I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe there is something there."
Yeah, he's very, very Native American looking.
And it threw me off a little bit. And again, this part wasn't the movie's fault. Aragorn is Viggo Mortensen to me. Unfortunately, I can't change that. And it's not the movie's fault because Viggo, none of that had happened yet. So I can't blame the movie for that part. But it does feel a choice that he's Native American. I mean, it's fine. It just threw me off. I was like, okay, that's all.
Okay. I think Aragorn is actually a point for this movie. I think he's one of the best characters in it. John Hurt gives him something of a legendary character actor to bind that character to. So yeah, I liked it. I liked him a lot.
Bad after John Hurt? Crap,
it just threw me off.
Yeah,
that's all. But again, I mean, I got thrown off later with the other main characters. Like when you meet Gimli, and I'm like, Gimli's almost the height of Legolas and Aragorn. I'm like, this isn't right, and again, that threw me off too.
Yeah,
but again, that wasn't the movie's fault. That's the live action movie's fault, and I can't. Again, this is a very hard one to because we are so. I mean, I watch a lot of movies for this podcast, a lot of different franchises, lots of stuff out of time, and usually it's not hard for me to okay, this is whatever this is at the time. This is one franchise where I am stuck with those actors and nothing can ever be different. And I didn't realize that's where my brain was until I watched this movie and went, oh shit, I am stuck that it has to be those characters and I don't like it.
The one character that I think I was going to say the one character that was really difficult for me to differentiate just because, Mike, you and we did Shadow of Mordor, and he plays a big part in that, and that's Gollum. And just Andy Serkis's depiction of Gollum has been used so much outside of the movies that when I see this version of Gollum, I'm just like, what is this? This is get that off screen. That is not Gollum.
Oh no, Gollum is awful in this. In general, man, even The Hobbit and Return of the King movies, which are made by a different studio, the Gollum looks more like a frog, and I'm okay with that Gollum versus this Gollum.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like the frog, but I kind of don't like this either.
He looks like a gremlin.
It doesn't even look like a gremlin to me. It looks like something that was cheaper than that. It looks like an amphibian creature. It looks like something that came out of a bad monster movie.
Oh my God, you're right.
It looks it doesn't look right to me. I think this is a real failing on everybody's part. I'm sorry. Somebody
Don't
should
be
have
sorry.
said
To be
Yeah.
fair, it's not even really realized because by the time Gollum shows up, it's very late in this movie because this movie is only part of Two Towers.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you get a small scene where like and unfortunately when I was watching this movie I was comparing it because I'm like, okay, I know Lord of the Rings based on the live action. Okay, so this has happened, so we're getting here, and that's how I was comparing this movie. Unfortunately, I also didn't. I was watching on a DVD, so I didn't know like time wise where we were. So I can't even like. I'm gonna find out shortly because I'm using Internet Archive to watch this movie and to kind of see where it jumps into Two Towers and how much time they actually had for Two Towers versus.
They had. I could tell you that I was keeping it at 1 hour. 1 hour and 22 minutes is when Two Towers kicks in.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah,
So you only have an hour for the Two Towers part, and I still think Fellowship is the better. I don't like Two Towers, the movie or the book, or Return of the King. I really Fellowship is my favorite part of that story.
Okay.
Hot take.
Are we going to talk about that like massive cut in the middle of the movie that like takes you right, I think, to Galadriel? Because that was the most jarring part of this whole movie. And
You mean when they go to the forest and then they're just there?
Yeah, like they're like doing something, but then all of a sudden, bam! Like you're just right in the middle of of another scene. It was so crazy to me. Like
that felt like editing.
Yeah, they left that a lot there. Yeah.
Oh man, like I mean, that was definitely some missing money shenanigans.
Even in that scene with Galadriel, where like they have like Frodo come up, Sam come up, Aragorn. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do all the characters. They're like, nope, screw all the other characters. They don't get anything. Screw them. What?
We don't have time for them. We're not gonna.
There's another small beat of this movie that I got to give it respect for is that I didn't realize that some of the lines are right from the books until I watched this movie and this movie said it and the live action said it. I'm like, oh, those are from the books there. So
the moment
appreciation
was
for that.
the moment was Gimli and Bilbo where Gimli tries to take the ring. Good stuff. No, what am I saying?
Boromir?
Boromir. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've had this thing drilled into my head for years, and I still can't keep these characters straight. I'm so fucking sorry, people of the internet. I'm doing my best.
I do not like Boromir in this because I can't get over him being a Viking. And also, why does people not wear pants in this movie? The men?
That was standard. That was standard depiction though of like medieval stuff at the time. So I can't really fault the movie for that.
Oh, that is okay. Never mind then.
Okay, yeah, medieval stuff, and because it's a fucking Ralph Bakshi movie, we're hanging dong at all times.
But there's no dong in this movie, thank God.
No, and there's no lady running around half naked.
No, there's not. I'm also okay with that too, because that would have messed with this movie, and I've been like, this doesn't belong here.
Oh, no, I think he is sincere in that he actually did leave the books relatively intact for what he's doing with them. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he tried.
I think there's a lot of little moments that show he is trying, and he is trying to bring character. Like the moment where Sam and Frodo are in a boat and they're having a slight argument, but they're paddling different directions as a compliment to the argument is an excellent bit of character animation. This was pointed out in a couple of other essays I got around to watching. Yeah, good stuff.
I was also a little bummed when they're on the mountain and I didn't get my second breakfast line. I was a little sad.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that scene was completely different than so that kind of, I was like, okay, I mean, I don't know what's accurate or not, but it was fine. It wasn't, the fire, seeing them fight with the fire immediately, I thought was a nice touch. And I do like I thought the ring race worked the way they had like the greenness to them and it was real people in a costume. Like that actually worked for me because these are otherworldly beings. So sometimes the movie did work for me and I wasn't upset with it. I was confused because Arwen isn't in, or is it Arwen? What the hell is her name?
Eowyn.
Because it's Legolas that shows up and takes Bilbo to the elves. Is that in the book?
Yeah, no, the book it's Eowyn.
Okay.
Why is she even in this movie?
No, she's not.
Oh, okay. It wasn't.
The only elf that's in here besides Legolas is Elrond.
Elrond. Oh, that also I couldn't do Elrond. I was like, that's not.
Yeah, he didn't even.
That's not Agent Smith.
I couldn't do Legolas. I mean, I just thought Legolas was terrible. Like, I just thought Legolas had no meat. like in characterization whatsoever. His design is bland. I thought it was one of the worst characterizations throughout the whole film. I was so disappointed.
Legolas is bad in this. And
Yeah.
also, doesn't even have any of the, for the elves, you don't even see their ears.
Yeah, what the hell
Hair
is
all the
that?
time.
Yeah.
Ah.
They just look more feminine looking guys. That's the only
I
differential
mean,
to them.
this is like a subtle subtext of Ralph Bakshi's hatred of the youth. Like, your pretty boy like character, he's going to make the blandest, most uninteresting character.
To me, I found that just a little odd.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it was one of the most disappointing things about my rewatch. Like, even when they show him in battle, like the animation they give him isn't interesting. Like, it doesn't have character.
Well, I think they're running out of money
Also,
at that point.
also,
Oh
if you
yeah,
look at
that's
the
part of it too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say if you look at the fight scenes when he does pull out his bow and arrow, and I don't know, maybe it's just I was watching it on VHS, so not the best quality. But did that bow and arrow look like as big as him?
That wasn't the VHS, Joe. Just to let you know.
Okay,
That was
yeah,
the movie.
Okay.
Yes. It's weird. There are just certain things in this movie that are super strange, and I don't know how to accept it. I mean, the elves are tough for me. The elves don't look like elves in just the way their faces are. Like, not even thinking Lord of the Rings movies. When you think of an elf, I have a certain type of look that I expect from elves, and none of these really had it for me.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean, again, it's a choice. It's fine, but you are right. That bow is fucking huge.
Yeah,
So.
and you could say that for the dwarves too, because like you mentioned before, like Gimli is like the same size as all the other people. He should be the Hobbit size.
I think he has one of the worst. I just wanted to say, I think he has one of the worst looking faces in the entire production. Like, it just feels so flat compared to every other character. It stuck out as bad.
Yeah.
Very obvious.
I mean, Gimli and Legolas also don't really have many scenes to shine. I wonder if that's because he was saving it for the second movie to have them be more of a part in it. But they don't do a whole lot in this movie.
No.
They have that interaction at the mines where they're talking about the door. That's really about it.
Yeah, I like all the stuff with the door though, except for I just don't like the cartoony like squid legs that pop up.
I kind of like the squid legs. I thought they were kind of creepy, actually.
Okay.
Although I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny when the arm shut the door.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Dynamic. I will say that. Yes.
I'll say this: I like the squid odds better than I like the Balrog. I don't know what happened with the Balrog.
Lord.
Yeah, that was. I laughed when that showed up. I really laughed. I just couldn't help it.
Murder.
Yeah,
just murder watching that thing.
I know. It's like, yeah, I know we work with a limited budget, but like Gandalf is bigger than the Balrog. What's going on here, man?
I mean that is the thing that I think broke me the most when I was watching this as a youngster. Because the Balrog, like that scene, when you look at the Peter Jackson films, it's impossible not to think about it. It's impossible not to remember it. It's such a dynamic, tense moment. And to have to go back and watch this and accept this as what people had as the depiction of the Balrog, the better part of 40 something years, Lord.
It's definitely and just the Peter Jackson version of the Balrog, that is like synonymous with that creature now. I mean, if you look at like a D&D book or any fantasy book, it's that design going forward. So it's just it's ingrained in everyone's head. Oh, we lost Mike.
Oh, I guess we better say bad things about him while he's gone.
Exactly.
Which I don't have anything to say because he's a fan.
I do not have anything. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What else was there about this movie? So I know I mentioned this like in our own chat, but the ending fight at Helm's Deep. Did when they were doing the filter stuff? Did you have any issues with that? I just found it very distracting. It was so distracting.
Okay. It like takes away every bit of character from what you could hope for out of rotoscopy. The promise of rotoscopy is that you're going to create animation as fluid as real life. So when you look at something like a Fleischer Brothers production like Gulliver's Travel, it's kind of like wild and insane how everything moves in such a production because they are doing it fully 24 frames a second with live actors. And then when you compare it to the compositing that's going on in this thing, fucking weird. Like it mashes all your like lines and details together, and because they're doing this weird Xerox thing where they're just creating an impression of what they think are figures on a photograph, it creates a lot of like dissonance, a lot of like canceling out of shape, and it's just a big fucking mess, and it drives me insane to have to sit through
Yes.
it for minutes on end. I hate it.
Yeah. Yes. No, I'm glad I am not the only one in that thinking. Yes, that drove me up the wall watching that last few minutes.
You know what? You could use that to help create the impression that these people are in an epic battle. But you need the
One thing that did bother
resources to
me.
be able to fucking pull that off. Like that is a huge task. Okay. I'm sorry, Mike. I will stop.
No, you're fine. I disappeared for a couple seconds apparently because my internet decided to crash. So it's okay. I do want to say the Balrog bothered me a lot.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I have like it's like again, I hate saying this in live action films.
Did we lose him again?
God damn, I think we did.
The Balrog did not take kindly to what Mike was saying, decided to take him out.
Oh. Fucking took a hockey down.
Yeah. I guess might not pass.
That's funny.
So,
This movie is fun to talk about. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
it is.
this is a fun like thing to discuss for all its idiosyncrasies and like failures.
No,
That's the only reason I took it on.
But it is a fun movie to watch. Just to me, it's a movie that has a lot good going for it, but then at the same time, it's just got a lot like what happened here. It's very fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a real punch up and then like get knocked back twice scenario somehow. I like what I mentioned earlier, the scene with Boromir, Frodo. Like something about that is just so dramatically animated, full, and interesting to go through, and the performances are really well done. I found that part actually very captivating. There wasn't quite the same. There wasn't quite the same type of emotion throughout the film that you were getting from that. Like, man,
No. Even like something with spoilers for a 70-year-old book, but Boromir dies, and usually his death is he gets a very warrior death, both in the book and the modern movie. And this one, I don't know, the death just was kind of if you know what I mean. It just didn't. It didn't have the impact. Yeah.
And it ruins the good character moment you already had with Frodo and Boromir too. And that's another thing. Like Bakshi, like cuts his own wind out from under himself too.
Yeah,
absolutely frustrating.
Yeah, like I said, that's what I mean. Like we just did a really awesome scene, and we follow up with a very questionable scene. It's just this movie's like a roller coaster. You're going up and down the whole time.
Yeah. It's unnerving. I mean, me and my dad couldn't help but talk through some things because we just like blurt out stuff.
Yeah.
I think he was so disappointed. I mean, I think there was a couple of moments that he probably thought were a little better than he remembered. But I also think he was just all around like, yeah, this is a mess.
It is. I mean, there's no getting around. It is a mess, and I know, like we've talked about, like some of the techniques they use don't really work here, but you do feel like the guy really did want to make a good Lord of the Rings movie. Like I don't want to make it seem like it was felt like a cash grab in any way. You really do feel like the love he had for this property and really wanted to do the best to it. So I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, the acting is very sincere, even when there are voices that I cannot possibly fathom hearing in a big budget fantasy movie anymore. The narrator they have with his high upper tenor voice is just like so like weird. And I made a connection I had never made before because of it. That is the voice that Matt Stone and Trey Parker make fun of when they do a narrator type voice in South Park. Like it is that very specific Lord of the Rings narrator they are making fun of and stealing the voice from. I just never like made this connect. Like I had been watching South Park for, a good portion of of the latter half of my life, and I mean I don't watch it that much now because I don't want to support trans folks. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Well, now you just said that. Now I'm just remembering the South Park scene. Like, oh my God, you're dead. You're 100% right.
Like, think about the voice when they talk about mint berry crunch.
Oh God, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Oh God, yeah.
It's great. And actually, like, that makes me love that voice more in a certain way because I see that it has affected culture. And this movie
Yeah.
has, like, had a legacy, even if it's been low key and of a parodic nature.
Yeah.
Are
So,
you back
what
with
else?
us, Mike?
He's not back quite yet. I still think he's
Oh,
trying to
damn.
fight off the bell rod.
Yeah, me and you are going to have to finish up here.
One thing we mentioned previously about like Merry and Pippin. Now, one part of me is one of my favorite parts of the entire Lord of the Rings is the Ents. And oh man, how did
Oh,
you feel
Lord.
about that Ent design that they use in this?
Distractingly cartoon
Yes.
like silly to a degree that I could not fathom. Even within this world, I actually thought like there might be hope that these ends would have a little more serious nature. But though they move
Yeah.
like a Mary Melons like character.
Yeah.
They move. I
Yeah.
can't tell you the exact name of the short, but there is a short where like trees are dancing around and they move like that, though they're a lot like fatter in stature. In a certain way,
Yeah.
I kind of like their design, but it also is like a failure on Bakshi's part because it's the intrinsic failure of a cartoonist who is not capable of handling like epic fantasy characters. He is not capable of fully designing for them. I mean, if this is a product of production time being cut in half, then I guess that's a little understandable. I have no way to confirm that other than Ralph Bakshi's words, so that's dubious at best in a lot of ways. But it does feel
Yeah.
crazy. Like, it does feel rushed in a lot of ways. And it just feels like an animator on autopilot doing something they would have done in a less epic cartoon, in a less epic production. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's
it's a
a
weird
weird
failure. Yeah.
it's just a weird design because it looks like it's an amalgamation of like different. Like you look at the arms and they don't match the body, and then it kind of almost reminds me of the Lorax with his design because he's got like the same kind of shape as the Lorax and the beard and stuff. It's a
Uh,
very weird design.
Okay, since you're pointing this out in a lot of ways, I want to. It makes me think of something that Bakshi would have done at Terry Tunes, and
Okay.
in a different world, I bet this would have been like an alien character that moved like this and was designed like this. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it just I think it kind of betrays his roots as a slapstick cartoonist, and that's like a bulbous character that like bounces around while it walks. Like you're completely incapable of taking it seriously, and it really
Yeah.
shows the work of a director rooted in the slapstick cartooning that had defined Terry Toons in the mid to late '50s before that whole outfit crashed. I really would like to take a moment to just mention a little bit of cartooning lore about Ralph Bakshi. Ralph Bakshi was a legendary figure at Terry Toons because he was one of the first people that wasn't part of the old guard of Terry Toons promoted up as a director. And, at the time, the way all these animation studios worked were they had their old men, and then they had their in-betweeners and the other youngsters that picked up all the other slack that the old men couldn't take care of. But they didn't get the dubious credits of director if they even got credits at all. It was usually as an assistant or it was in-betweener, colorist. It was never something that carried the authoritarian weight of director. So Ralph Bakshi is a historical presence in a lot of ways in animation history. He represents like the forward momentum of youth culture invading the animation industry, an industry that had become stale guarded by just really old animators that had been developing animation since the early 20s, a lot of whom by that point were simply cashing in, or they were selling off their legacies. Paul Terry would sell away Terry Toons by the mid 60s, I believe. And there's a couple of stories about how he was involved in the mafia and all this stuff. Terry Toons, for a time after it was sold to Paramount, was over. It was over. How do I put this? It's a very weird situation. There was a consultancy by a guy named Mo Green, I believe, who everybody knows was a mob insider who had genuine connections to the Genovese mob. And the director of some not very good Tom and Jerry's named Gene Deitch, he knew all about this, and he was going to be the head of Terry Toons at Paramount for a time. But then he found out about this arrangement that Mo Green had with what was happening at Terry Toons. So I guess Paul Terry was indebted to Mo Green like the whole time because of all the money he had gotten from the mafia and such. So Mo Green had installed himself as a consultant of some kind, and he basically was just there to show up every now and then, get some big fat shacks, and go away. But he, when he was getting installed in at Paramount and all this, it created a lot of problems because these new bucks at Paramount, they wanted to reinvent Terry. They wanted to make Terry Toons hip again. They wanted to make it cool in a way it had it, without betraying like the charms of it. But he was basically there to make sure that it was nothing more than a money funneling scheme for himself for a time. And I believe I'm remembering most of this information correctly. Gene eventually left that studio because of all this shadiness. Yeah. Fascinating like history about Paul Terry. Bakshi is entwined in all that. It's very unique cartoon history. It does not betray what we know about the cartoon industry nowadays in a lot of ways. The cartoon industry had a lot of real outlaws, shady people involved in it for a long time.
I was not expecting the mob to be the first thing I heard when I came back from the dark realm after my internet.
Yeah, I mean, you got back at an awesome time.
I'll hear it all later when I edit, so don't worry.
Yeah. Hey, if there's a little bit of that's rambling, you can cut it out. No,
I like that stuff.
Okay.
I have two rules in this podcast. One, we have to stay on topic for the first 5 minutes. After that, get started a little more free game. As long as it fits somewhat into the topic, and it does, don't care. Hell, even if once we're an hour in, I don't even care if we go on side tangents, as long as we eventually get back to the product. That, like, the idea of this show is that the topic Mikey, brings out conversations, and that's what the idea of the show is.
You know what, Mikey? If I'm going to die alone, it's all worth it because I got to be on Games My Mom Found and talk about mob connections with Paul Terry.
Hey, I actually love
crazy
mob connection stuff. Like, I watch a lot of documentaries about the mob. I know a decent amount about the New York mob and stuff like that. So, hey, I always find that stuff super interesting, what they did, where they got their hands in. So, no, I'm always
pretty sure Terry was connected to the mob, like, even from the 20s and 30s. Like, I'm pretty sure how he became independent was connected to the mob. Yes.
A lot of people took money from the mob. I mean, people don't realize their hands are everything.
I think that had a lot to do with the cheapness of Terry Toons, because I think he would just underfund his studio to put that money in his own pocket. And he'd say things like, oh, well, this is going to cost more or something like that, and they wouldn't be able to do the job properly. Or he'd just stop them altogether from doing it properly.
Oh, that's how the mob made a lot of their money.
History.
There's a lot of buildings in New York where the whole thing with the racketeering is that they owned all the construction companies, so they would all the construction companies were in together, so they would just bid higher, and then they'd take the money off the top. So no, this isn't new. Like, that's just how the mob works.
No.
And I feel like movie studios still do that because they'll be talking like, oh, this movie cost $300 million. I'm like, how? Where'd the money go? Like, movie's garbage. Like, what the fuck do you do with it? So no.
Have you all seen Ant-Man and Quantum Medium or whatever the hell that's called?
Unfortunately, yeah. Yes.
I mean, where the hell did the money go to in that fucking thing? I mean, we could have pared half that movie down, and it still would
I
have
mean,
looked
we could have
better.
just made
I
MODOK
imagine.
never take his helmet off. Right there, you would have saved some money and made a better
Yeah,
movie.
damn straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like MODOK too. Like I use that card in Marvel Snap almost every day. One of my main decks. And
Oh my
fucking
God. Okay.
A.
The MODOK cartoon they made that was a stop motion sitcom. It
Oh
has some
yeah.
it has some basic writing, but it's just amazing to watch on an animation level. Like top notch robot chicken type people working on this thing. Really good stuff.
Apparently, when you search MODOK and you don't put the dots in, you get looks like dumplings for some
I don't
reason.
want to know what sexual position that is, Mike. Okay.
Well, there
Keep it
is
to
an
yourself,
elephant
all
that
right?
looks like someone is trying to make sexy
Okay.
looking or
No,
something.
no,
But
no,
yeah,
no, no, no,
it's a
no.
lot of dumplings. I really don't know why, but you get a lot of dumplings and an elephant eating dumplings. That's what happens if you search MODOK without the dots.
Oh.
No fucking idea. MODOK is in there off and on, but mostly it's elephants and dumplings. I'm really confused.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's not sexual. Nothing. It's just
That's what
weird
I've
to
looked
me.
at, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. All right, so back to Lord of the Rings. Since I returned,
Yeah.
the Moria stuff I liked because I just like Mines of Moria. I realized, and I do appreciate like there was a line in here that I know is not in the live action where they talk about when they're trying to open the door, right after they open the door, about how simple it was and how things were different at one time. Things were friendlier, where they're overthinking this whole concept of say friend and it will open. When it was simple, just say friend in Elvish and you open the door instead of like because things weren't as dangerous. And I thought it was a nice that they threw that the way they do it. I thought was a nice touch. Again, things that I didn't realize from the movie back in the day. So I appreciate little things like that more.
And that's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. Just it feels really sincere, and all the actors feel comfortable with each other in the moment. Look,
Yeah,
I know you don't like the Viking outfit for that character, but
that's not
I
the
still
movie's
like all
fault.
the animation. Look, I still like all the animation with the acting in it. Like, I actually think that felt like good animation acting and characterization. I wonder like how much of these like voices were recorded in full movie acting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder how much this live vocals, like compared to overdub. Bakshi was
Yeah.
revolutionary in certain ways in the animation industry because he was one of the first people to use like completely live action footage with the live action dialogue in his camera in his animated like feature length film. And that brought like a level of realism to his films that was notable compared to other animated films at the time.
One question, I don't think we brought it up yet, or if we did, I wasn't there. Did we mention about the Saruman-Ahriman thing?
Oh no, we didn't touch on that. No, not yet.
They changed it. It was, I guess, from what the YouTube video told me, is it was Ahriman because they didn't want to confuse Sauron and Saruman. But then when they edited it, they changed it back to Saruman. So that's why sometimes they say Saruman, other times they say Ahriman.
Oh god.
Okay.
It's fucking
That
weird.
explains a lot.
Yeah, so it wasn't his choice. It was the editor, when they were doing it, was fucking with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Sometimes I do wonder how involved Bakshi is with his complete final edit. Like on a film like this, which I think is a little closer to a paycheck in a certain way compared to his like groundbreaking independent urban films. I do wonder, like, if he was like, okay, you can finish up the edit, it'll be fine, or something like that. Left.
No, I mean, but again, how much control do directors even always have with the editing? I mean, sometimes the studios just take over and say, fuck you, and that's the end of that. And
Yeah, it's really
depending
going to depend on the relationship with really the
Yeah.
producer.
I mean, this movie cost $4 million and made $32.6 million, so it made, well over his budget back, and it still didn't get its sequel. I mean, that right there should kind of point out something like, there's an issue here.
I would like to point out about Saul Zentz, one of the big producers behind this. he had worked with Bakshi before for Fritz the
Mhm.
Cat, and I think he goes into Heavy Traffic as well, because I believe he locks Bakshi out of his offices at a certain point during the making of Heavy Traffic over a dispute. So yeah, I kind of want to believe Bakshi almost. I mean, I probably shouldn't, terrible, misleading person. There's lots of disassociation about what he says and what is the reality that can be proven about what he says. But Saul's Ends has been proven to be like a little bit shady, certain ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I would wrap that up to a little bit of like, there's always a little bit of truth in bullshit.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe some of the stuff he's saying is true, even if majority of it is, lies. There's probably some truth in certain things, just exaggerated.
I do think when I watch his movies that there's enough high quality stuff scattered throughout, usually that's like, this is a guy that knows what he wants to do. So I think there are a lot of moments that are due to budget fallouts and things, to, issues with producers. Yeah.
And I do have a small hot take that I want to mention. I actually don't mind how short Helm's Deep is.
Oh.
It doesn't bother me that it's like a 10, 15-minute scene versus an hour and a half or whatever the fuck it is in the Two Towers movie. Doesn't bother me that it's so short.
Well, I was fine with it because I just didn't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah. I couldn't really
that
tell what was
too.
going on with all the filters. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's where you can tell we had zero money, because like when as I was rewatching this, which I can't find it now on the internet again, even though I know it's there. It just, who knows? Internet's not cooperative tonight. Like you look at the backgrounds in the first half of the movie, then you look at like the Two Tower stuff, and it's like, my God, this is bad. And yeah, same as Helm's Deep. It's like it really is just a filtered like color, and they're fighting, and I know what's happening. Like I know exactly what each scene was when they get the horses. Because I've seen the live action movie, but I'm like, it's like, yeah, maybe it's just I was ready for it to be done too.
That has some of the worst solarization of the whole film, because there are points earlier when he uses that for like the Dark Riders, for instance. Like they kind of like pull it off slightly for them. It gives them just this like creepy, horrible looking presence. But here is just it feels like a layer is missing or something, and just lines are smashing together in a way that destroys the impact of what these battle scenes are supposed to accomplish. It's just a big old headache. It reminds me of like Squiggle Vision from the home movies people almost. Like it's that unbalanced on a certain level.
And like even some of the like the stuff with the Roheim riders was all right. I didn't mind it. I do like the stuff with Boromir and his like the way the arrows are. I thought that was good. I really enjoyed that.
The writers I mean, I know that's how it goes in the book and the movie, but they really seem to just kind of come out of nowhere in this. And that's probably just more due to the fact that like they had to wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean they do kind of come out of nowhere. I feel like in at least the other movie, but I don't remember the book. So except in this one, they're surrounded and it looks like they're about to die. Then the writers show up versus the way the movie does it, and he's like, "Come on the fifth day."
Yeah, look out the window.
That's arguing with semantics and no money. So
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know about y'all, but I mean, I feel like I pretty much got my airs out about this.
I got most of mine when my internet cooperated. Yes.
Oh.
It's an ongoing fight. One last thing I want to bring up is like after watching this movie, part of me wants to watch The Hobbit and Return of the King, the animated versions. Part of me. I don't know if that part of me will actually make it happen, because I don't know if I have any other volunteers anymore, but it's something I think about.
I will do those with you to finish up what we've started here tonight, but I will say those are stylistically even in a way this film cannot even comprehend to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, since they're just focusing each on one story, they're a little more focused, I would say.
And they're shorter too. The Hobbit's only an hour and 17 minutes versus what we just 2 hours and 12 minutes is just bizarre.
The original cut of this movie was 3 hours.
Oh God.
I mean, if it was finished, sure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I doubt that was finished.
Not guaranteed.
It's a lick hit. We're gonna have them work. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out in post.
I mean, you can figure out a lot of stuff in post. As an editor, I don't do video, but I do audio. You can do a lot of things in post.
Sure, but I don't think Ralph Bakshi always had the budget to do things in post. I bet the way he thought he did.
I mean, when I say I do things in post, there is no budget. It's just me sitting in front of a computer playing on free programs. So, but yes.
Everything Ralph Bakshi did was like on a film reel. You know, like he had to have
that's
like
a whole
massive
different
tiles.
post.
You know, like like everything he did cost money, like to a degree we can't fathom in the real world. You know what? I've been working on a hand-drawn animated subject by myself using like poster board paper that I bought. Okay, like envelope paper, and just real thick paper. Okay, and it's taken me forever. Okay, but I've only spent like I don't know. $60 or $70 to really get the amount of finished frames painted with that I want to. And even then, that doesn't even compare to the amount of money cells cost. That doesn't compare to the amount of money film and big film reel cam cost.
No, that's completely fair. Yeah, I'm watching the
Please
trailer.
edit out half my breathing.
I'm watching the trailer for The Hobbit right now, and this is so fucking ugly, and somehow I am curious. God, this is ugly animation.
It's ugly, but it's still like consistent throughout the whole thing. Like the one after the Return of the King is a hell of a lot.
The Return of the King. So funny thing, when we were waiting for you in the green room, The Return of the King isn't streaming anywhere, and the only place to find it is Internet Archive in any shape or form on the internet.
Wow,
that movie has been banished from the world.
Yeah.
Weird.
You can't even buy it on DVD either, unless you're getting bent over and someone taking $60 for all three of these films. Which, if you're doing that, man, you're being conned right there. So
yeah,
because there's no way in hell these three movies are going to be worth $60 in DVD. Like, my God, no!
Okay.
I take $5.
I want The Return of the King because that's a Topcraft production. And Topcraft is one of the studios that would fall apart, and then the talent would morph into Studio Ghibli and a couple of other big anime companies. Yeah.
Yep.
So, The Return of the King actually has a very high pedigree animation-wise.
It's really hard to find anything about it. So, I have seen images of this Hobbit movie before, actually. This was on Cartoon Network for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's where I saw it.
Okay, I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing the previews for it. So I'm curious, though. I am actually... except, I don't know, part of me also wants to watch a good animated Lord of the Rings movie now. So, The War for Rohan.
I did think that was about 75% successful all around on execution. So, yeah, I'll give it that. It's still an under budgeted thing though. Like if you watch it, like they can't composite the live action actors with the anime characters as well as they could if they had more money. Like that stands out a little bit. There is though a few moments of just truly gorgeous full frame animation. Yeah, just incredible stuff.
Still really like the actors with a red background portraying out scenes.
Oh yeah, it's fun to play. Let's guess when the movie ran out of budget.
Oh God, you can tell so many times in this movie that there were money issues. I mean, okay, and one last comment I want to make before we wrap this up is there's a part of me, it's a small part, that kind of wants to see another Ralph Bakshi movie, but I also think that's a dumb decision in my part. But there's a part of me that's curious now to see another one of his movies.
Okay, I mean, if you want.
It depends on which one, is what I was going to say.
Well, the Fire and Ice one is what kind of has me curious. If we talked about the Green Room, and I looked it up, and I'm like, this actually, and it's on YouTube, this actually kind of looks interesting.
I think that film on a story level is far more underdeveloped than any framing you get for The Lord of the Rings. But on an animation level and like rotoscopy level, it's just kind of a cool anomaly. And I guess that's the best I can give it. Yeah, it's worth once or twice maybe. Maybe the first time you see it on cable, maybe the second time you're seeing it on cable again later on. You've had a few beers. That helps.
If I do it, it will be a random thing where I get you two to come back and we just talk about it, and that'll be the one time in my life I watch it. Type of thing.
Yeah, that's both for me. I would also recommend Wizards. That's still kind of a weird one, but I
It's
feel
got
like
Mark
it has
Hamill
some
as a
merit.
voice.
Oh my god! Oh
I'm
god!
curious.
Yeah,
Merits to
the
it.
pacing of Wizards is off, and it's like crazy horny, like in a weird, weary way.
Yeah,
Fucking hell, yeah.
it's
And
a
it's
weird
also
movie. You're
basically,
right.
yeah, it's also basically a ripoff of Von Bode's work, and there's a couple of designs in particular that are pretty much Von Bode designs if you put them side by side. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but part of me is curious about Fritz the Cat in a very strange way. I am curious.
Okay. Do you care about the history of American animation and like the way adult animation is perceived by the public? Because
No.
that's a film you. Oh, okay. Well, I guess maybe that won't hold too many pleasures for you. But that film, it was like the most successful independent animated film in American history
Yeah.
when it came out,
Okay.
and it
Yeah.
has it represents a turning point in animation history because it is a satire. It deals with heavy adult topics in a way that is crude and violent in a manner that I don't think a giant American animated feature film had ever done before. It basically created whatever limited market there was thereafter with imitators trying to cop some success. It was so damn big. And it was big enough that it even bled into Ralph Bakshi's second film, Heavy Traffic, and gave that enough money that bled into his like first downfall of Coonskin. No, I am not saying that name to be abrasive. That
I
is
know
the
that's
name
the
of the film.
title,
Yeah.
and I heard
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
awful.
I mean
It-
yeah, I mean it kind of
Well, I heard it
is
was
if you
racist as
really
fuck,
want to.
like kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but it's also like a film that's trying to combat racism, and it's a
Oh,
film trying to show that like black people are part of a system of segregation that has been keeping them down through the influence of like the mafia and the police. Yeah. So there's a
okay.
lot of complicated emotions about that. And it's also a film trying to deal with like the legacy of racism and animation. Like it has very specific cues back to Warner Brothers and Tex Avery, like blackface stuff. It's a very, very complicated movie. I think it kind of fails in a lot of ways, but I think its performances and its place in history is really interesting if you're so obliged. Yeah.
I mean, part of me is sometimes like I might not appreciate art for like you were talking about like with the Fritz the Cat and things, but sometimes I like having it on this podcast because then I'm introduced to it and then we just have some really good conversations that come out of it. So, and part of me at this point is becoming very much of trying to experience media that I would have completely missed. And somebody once on this who joined the Discord once made a comment that this podcast needed more animated movies, and I've been trying to do that since then.
Would you like my recommendation for what I think is the best animated Ralph Bakshi movie?
Sure.
Hey, good looking. He worked on this film for what amounts to probably, if you want to believe his timeline, around 6 to 7, maybe 8 years. And that's because there are two versions of the film, according to Ralph Bakshi, that he put together. The first version was about the animated characters living in a live action space. And whenever you saw the characters doing anything, they were always cartoon characters, but they lived in a real world. And I think he wanted to do something that was very cinema verite in certain ways. But Warner Brothers, according to Ralph Bakshi, just for public record, Warner Brothers said it looked amateurish and they didn't like the live action cinematography. So he took it and he put it on the back burner and was working on it in between other jobs over a period of years. And around 1982 to 1983, he got them in talks again to release Hey Good Looking, and they did, but they forced him into making it look more animated, and eventually it became the whole film was actually animated. And it might be the most lush production he ever put together if you really think about the staging of everything, the angling of everything, the detail on everything, the vibrancy of New York that he brings out for these disgusting, worthless characters, the cartooniness of them. It's kind of brilliant on an animation level a lot of the time, but it's a terrible like story that has no sympathetic characters whatsoever. Yeah, it's a real mixed bag of a movie, but on a pure animation level, that might be the most beautiful thing he ever. He loves that movie, and because that movie is basically a story of his adolescence growing up in the 50s and how that turned into the hippie movements of the 60s. He doesn't get that far into it. It's about Brooklyn in the late 50s, but this is a very pivotal film for him, and there's a lot of weird queasy junk you can read into that, of course, but the animation of it is just lovingly rendered in a way I don't think he ever quite pulled off with other things. Like, yeah. And it has, according to Ralph Bakshi, the first videographed instance of breakdancing in a major motion picture.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any way to prove that, but they filmed it all in like 1977 or 1978. So yeah, he is one of the earliest people to capture breakdancing on film.
Okay. I don't know, mate. We'll see. It was something that popped in
Yeah.
my head after doing this, but we'll see if it ever. I mean, again, it'll be one of those things that'll be in the back of my head where I'm like, I don't know what to record today, and then I'll be like, let's watch this one of these movies. So we shall see.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should go to Shelf Stacker Box, and I'll go first. Going into box. I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I experienced it. I don't even mind owning this for $5. I'll never watch it again, and probably someday when I get through one of my moods, I'll purge it to a Goodwill or a half-price book and say, "Here, take this."
Yeah.
But I don't mind that I paid $5. I mind a little bit more that I found it on the Internet Archive. Going to watch it for free on my computer, much easier than watching on my PS5. But hey, you know what? That's neither here nor there. But it's fine. I'm still glad I experienced it. Even though when I put stuff in the box, most movies, martyrs, I don't regret watching them. Only once in a while do I have that do I have that feeling where I regret watching that movie. Usually I'm like, hey, you know what? I saw it for the first time. I made a podcast about it. It lives forever in a shape or form, and I'm happy. So, and that's how I feel with this movie. But box, Joe.
Yeah, this is going to be in the box for me as well. Like you said, I agree with what you said. I think it's an interesting movie. I'm glad I watched it. It's got some good, but I think the negatives kind of outweigh the good parts of it. And I just think there's better versions of this story. I know it's not fair to compare live action to animated, but those are just so ingrained in all our minds at this moment. So it was a nice curiosity, but I'm probably never going to watch this again.
And Robbie.
I'm sad to say this, but this is going in the box. This is the only thing covered with you on your pod that I think has gone into the box. So that's a pretty big mark of shame, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the
it wasn't your idea for me to cover this.
No, it wasn't. But you know what? I think as far as the lofty standard of the good name of games my mom found goes, that's a pretty low bar. You know, like you've really fallen quite a bit compared to your competitors. And as a person who's interested in animation and has developed some sort of eye for it over a period of years through trial and error, it's a mess of conflicting tones and half-baked ideas. It has moments in it that show a lot of promise and have a few payouts. There are a lot of stories to go with this thing that are interesting on a historical level, but I'm still not sure those historical little facts. I don't think they add up to making this film just a better film. I just don't think they do, and it feels like a real loss when you consider the highs of Ralph Bakshi's first three films. And yeah, I got put in the box. I'm sorry, good people of the internet. I've been trying to be fair, and objective. I mean, I'm even putting aside my bias towards Ralph Bakshi as a shitty person I took as a good person for a long time. Like just on a filming level, there's a lot of disappointments with this. There's a lot of just headaches of a visual mess that can't be worked out because they don't have enough time and budget to do that, or even enough people to really accomplish what they need to accomplish. What works. John Hurt as Aragorn, I actually like a lot. He brings a lot of sensitivity and confidence to the role. That's quiet but powerful. That's good stuff. I like the Frodo voice. They fucked up Sam. I hate his stupid, dumb, shimpy face. That's actually, that's probably within the top five grievances if I'm going to go that far. I mean, they really screwed up Sam's likability as a character. Like they do not respect this character. They made him a simpleton that like is incapable of being brave generally, and when he is, looking at him makes you incapable of believing he is like a well-rounded character. He always looks like a dumb cartoon character. It's a real insult to that character. I think it's a real insult to LOTR fans. Little stuff like that, just representation problems like Gimli being 7 feet tall is fucking crazy, and just stuff like that just feels like weird. I suggest every LOTR fan, if they really want to get into the bones of the problems with the problems with adapting the Lord of the Rings, this is your best example, but I don't recommend it otherwise. I'm sorry for the monologue of the internet.
While you're
Thank you for
here,
being patient. I really wanted to give this a fair shake. I thought this might be better. There's a couple of moments of genuinely wild rotoscoping that is a little impressive, but overall, kind of flat, flat impression you get by the end of it, in my opinion.
completely fair. I mean, it's a strange movie, and I also just can't get over how Return of the King doesn't exist on the internet, really. So, but that's me here and there. All right, and I guess go to plugs. If you enjoyed this episode, if you want to hear our other Lord of the Rings content, we've only done 2 other Lord of the Rings things, which was Shadow of Mordor and Lego Lord of the Rings. And this is the third thing we do. Hey, I do odd stuff sometimes. But if you want to go hear the other Lord of the Rings content, it's in the show notes. Go check that out. If you want to hear the rest of our content, we have over 800 episodes of this podcast on Podbean. We do movies, TV shows, video games, comics, all sorts of content, whatever the hell pops in my head or someone suggests at one random point. It just happens. So, hey, you never know. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon, a little dog vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. It's a great way to support the show. And if you put more than $10, I will promote your podcast, YouTube channel, whatever it is. We do have listeners, and you want to know how many, you can see all that in Podbean because I don't hide that information. So that's all there. If you want to be a part of the show, if you want to suggest things for the show, if you want to lurk, we have a Discord. It's free. We're always happy people. Just come to the Discord. You don't have to say anything. I'm just happy to see that number go up. And if you've been interested in being on the show, I will take almost anybody. Like you don't even need a fancy microphone. You can just have AirPods. I'll do my best to make it work. I'm just happy to get new voices and let people be part of the show and be on a podcast. So definitely go check that out. Want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Free. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Check out Bill Tucker at A Gamer Looks at 40 and check out absolutely the best podcast of Work in Progress. They talk about MCU movies and MCU adjacent movies, and they're all caught up on MCU movies. Check out that show. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only, and rate and reviews over get podcast. I mean, everything I need to say is we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Sayonara.